Have you ever witnessed a single sentence freeze an entire room, even the President of the United States?
Yes.
That's exactly what happened when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calmly revealed explosive Epstein-linked secrets during a routine hearing. With just a handful of names and hard evidence, she silenced Washington, triggered panic in the White House, and sent shockwaves across the country. For once, no one could spin or shout their way out because the truth was undeniable. Stay tuned to see how one woman's 10-minute takedown changed the game, exposed the hidden power machine, and proved that real preparation can shatter any defense. It was supposed to be a routine Tuesday afternoon in Washington, D.C., just another House oversight hearing buried in the dry hum of government business. The chamber, with its polished wood and fluorescent overheads, buzzed with quiet conversations. In the occasional shuffle of paper, the center of it all, sat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, her posture calm and almost unassuming amid the backdrop of towering egos. Committee members, Democrats, Republicans, staffers were scattered across the long table, expecting nothing more than discussions on agency spending. But behind the everyday motions, something was different. Crockett had arrived with folders, eyes steady and determined. 2 rows back, staffers watched her closely, while across the city in the White House, President Trump and his advisors tuned in out of a vague sense of routine, never suspecting the shock that was on its way. The atmosphere was thick, anticipation crackling. Washington was about to get shaken awake. The calm in the hearing room shattered as Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett adjusted her mic, her tone steady but serious. "What I'm about to read into the record," she began, eyes flicking across the panel, "comes directly from declassified files released 2 weeks ago. It contains names tied to Jeffrey Epstein's travel manifest." Instantly, the atmosphere shifted. Committee members stopped their side conversations, their attention fixed. Crockett methodically presented 3 flight logs, visitor sign-in, sheets from Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, and cross-referenced Secret Service access lists from the past year. "At least 2 of these names," she said evenly, "hold senior positions in the Trump administration." A hush fell. Even distant sounds, a pen cap, rustling papers, felt amplified. Crosstown in the White House, President Trump engrossed. In a briefing, turned his focus entirely to the live broadcast. "How the hell did this get out?" he muttered. From the panel, Representative Clay Barron objected, his tone rising. "These are serious accusations." But Crockett remained unshaken. With each name, flight date, and photo placed calmly into the record. She wasn't accusing, she was exposing a pattern, making denial impossible. The moment had escalated, shifting the entire tenor from routine oversight to scandalous showdown. As the air in the hearing room tightened, an unexpected figure shifted the mood from confrontation to clarity. Representative Henry Brighton, a Republican from Indiana famously loyal to party lines, unexpectedly cleared his throat. The room, still reverberating from Jasmine Crockett's relentless revelations, instantly quieted. Brighton leaned in, his usually guarded eyes meeting those of the committee. "I served in this chamber when the Epstein story first broke," said softly but audibly, carrying the weight of institutional memory. "Back then, we told ourselves this wasn't about parties, it was about power. Accurate. We need to look deeper. Party be damned." That brief cross-party acknowledgement landed with seismic energy. The press pool in the gallery erupted in swift, silent flurry, fingers racing across keyboards, reporters nudging one another, camera lenses narrowing their focus from wide panorama to Brighton's unexpectedly grave posture. Even the C-SPAN crew received hurried direction from their booth. "Stay on Crockett, but pan to Brighton. This is history." In the background, murmurs from the public seating grew into audible surprise. A ripple of recognition shot through the audience. This was no longer a partisan spectacle, but an American reckoning. Visual cues drove the moment home. Close-ups on Brighton's face, hands clenched in resolve. Shots of Jasmine Crockett, momentarily still, absorbing the gravity of bipartisan support. Sweeps across the room as faces registered shock and reevaluation. The C-SPAN feed captured legislative aides sharing wide-eyed glances, while texts lit up on journalists' phones. This wasn't going to be swept under the rug. The emotional tone shifted away from open confrontation to a heavy, reverent silence, the atmosphere of a room recognizing history in motion. Background music here would drop to a restrained, suspenseful motif, underscoring the gravity of Brighton's break from party and precedent. Pacing slowed dramatically, granting each word and expression space to reverberate with viewers. For the first time, the hearing room wasn't just bearing witness to another partisan drama. Instead, the story had tipped. Documentation and courage had forced old allegiances to give way. Crockett's calm methodology, paired with Brighton's surprising intervention, marked a turning point not just in the hearing, but in the stakes for everyone watching, inside the Capitol and across the nation. After unveiling the explosive names, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett shifted gears, moving beyond mere allegations to systematically revealing the layered evidence that connected powerful officials to Jeffrey Epstein's network. She began by entering 3 detailed flight logs from 2001, 2005, and 2007 into the record. These logs, painstakingly authenticated by aviation watchdogs, revealed senior officials flying on private jets tied to Epstein under pseudonyms like R. Delaney, later identified as Robert Dillon, a current assistant director at the Department of Energy. Crockett cross-referenced these manifests with visitor sign-in sheets from Epstein's Manhattan townhouse and a Secret Service access list, confirming overlapping appearances of the same people on multiple occasions. Next came the financial trail. She presented bank wire transfers traced to shell companies such as Southern Nest Capital and the U.S. Virgin Islands linked to Elliott Frayne, Epstein's known fixer, showing recurring contributions bundled just under legal reporting thresholds. These funds funneled into the American Strategic Futures Fund, super PAC directly influencing judicial nominations and federal contracts. Crockett introduced whistleblower documents exposing instructions to ignore flagged transactions tied to the same network. A resignation memo from a former Department of Labor official confirmed internal pressure to dismiss suspicious donations. Reinforcing a culture of deliberate silence to strengthen her case, she played an audio recording featuring Ernest Vick, a low-profile policy advisor, discussing strategies to bury Crockett's investigation and discredit her, countering critics. Crockett emphasized that these were not baseless claims, but a pattern multiple records verified independently by agencies like FinCEN and supported by public watchdog groups. Her calm, clinical delivery dismantled objections, illustrating that the evidence wasn't about isolated incidents, but a pervasive network influencing government decisions. One trip might be coincidence, she said, but repeated flights, financial transfers, and secret meetings show a pattern designed to conceal. By methodically unveiling each piece, Crockett laid bare a system of hidden influence shielded by silence, transforming what seemed like rumors into undeniable truth. If you'd like, I can help further with expanding any specific part or adding visuals and pacing notes. In the aftermath of her explosive evidence, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett didn't immediately seize the moment with indignation or bravado. Instead, she let the silence linger, her composure unbroken as cameras caught the sudden change in the room. With the nation and her fellow lawmakers watching, Crockett spoke, her voice measured but forceful. "Mr. Chairman, I haven't come here to accuse for spectacle or grandstand for headlines. I came here because, for too long, people assumed that power could hide behind silence. I'm not here to break Washington. I'm here to remind it who it works for." Her words landed with unique force, shifting the hearing's energy from chaotic to reverent. Responding to Representative Barron's objections, Crockett calmly stated, "Is it more dangerous to read verified records in public, or to let secrecy rule government decisions?" She made it clear she was presenting facts, not rumors. Her focus remained on how abuse of procedure and money shaped real consequences. For ordinary people, the room itself changed. Lawmakers who had come ready to spar instead looked down or sideways, some visibly moved, nodded in acknowledgement of her commitment. Journalists shifted their attention from politics as usual to the gravity of her stand. Crockett read, briefly from a constituent's letter, "My daughter died before Epstein was ever arrested. No one believed me. Maybe now they will." She paused, letting the line hang in the charged quiet. "I don't expect this to be easy or popular," she continued, "but the truth doesn't blink. Sometimes it just waits for someone who refuses to look away." Her closing was not triumphant, but resolute. Her refusal to flinch or lash out became the moment's defining strength. It's inspiring both her supporters in the room and the wider public watching from afar. Once the last folder closed and Jasmine Crockett's steady voice faded, the hearing room braced for the inevitable storm, but no one quite anticipated its scale or speed. The initial stillness broke with a tidal rush. Notifications flooded. Phones, the hum of news cameras ramped to a fever pitch, and within the hour, the narrative outgrew Capitol Hill, spilling into living rooms, newsrooms, and street corners across the country. Immediate reactions, a public on fire. Social media exploded almost instantly. Hashtags like #CrockettTruth and #EpsteinHearing climbed trending lists on X and TikTok. Clips of Jasmine's direct low tone, delivery reading names, holding up the resigned memo, calmly countering interruptions, hit millions of views. TikTok creators dissected her document trails, while Twitter threads mapped connections and theorized outcomes. Disbelief merged with a strange new respect. Even skeptics acknowledged she had done her homework, presented real, tangible evidence, and refused to devolve into spectacle. Journalists swarmed, racing to verify every detail. News tickers on CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox churned out breaking headlines. Analysts pivoted from their prepared talking points, recognizing the ground had shifted. For once, both sides of the aisle found themselves reacting, not dictating. The story, inside the machine, backlash, and personal risk. But the impact wasn't all virtual. That same afternoon, Jasmine's office line was overwhelmed. Hundreds of voicemails, a mix of trembling thanks, urgent tips, worried warnings, and a half-dozen anonymous threats. Mobilized emails, mobilized her security team, and braced for disinformation attacks. That evening, 2 senior officials, named in her evidence, quietly took administrative leave. One deleted social media, the other reportedly left D.C. altogether. The backlash machine also roared. Conservative outlets accused her of weaponizing tragedy and insisted her records were rehashed conspiracies. Blustered about political vendettas. Yet the usual denials lacked their former punch. Too many facts were already public. And, crucially, viewers had seen Jasmine's calm, meticulous process. Support and solidarity in unexpected places. Yet even as the pushback intensified, an outpouring of support emerged. Letters and emails poured in from across the country. Survivors of abuse, advocates, retired teachers, military wives, all thanking Jasmine for refusing to let powerful names by silence. In Baton Rouge, a woman wrote, "My daughter died before Epstein was ever arrested. No one listened. I think maybe now they will. That letter, and dozens more like it, were read and reread by Jasmine late into the night. On the ground, spontaneous rallies formed outside federal buildings in cities like Des Moines and Seattle. The signs were simple. Ask about Frayne. If not now, when? We're watching. They weren't orchestrated. They were organic, real, and raw. For many, Jasmine's act became a rallying point, more like a lawyer in court than a lawmaker chasing clout. Inspiring, renewed, calls for institutional reform and further inquiries, national ripples the system shifts inside institutions. Real change was brewing. A Pew Research poll found 62% of Americans, including many Republicans, now supported a full investigation. DOJ announced an internal review within a week, while Congress quietly withdrew multiple nominations and appointments linked to Crockett's evidence. Whistleblowers, emboldened, began to step forward. One confirmed on record, "I was told not to dig.
Oh.
I wish I had." The story reshaped not just headlines, but the very sense of possible accountability. Jasmine, by refusing to be baited into outrage and focusing on documentation, didn't just survive the backlash, she redefined what principled leadership could look like in an era of partisan noise. And as the world watched, real people reached out, not just to say thank you, but to finally begin. Perhaps the work of believing the truth could still matter. Beyond the explosive revelations and political maneuvers, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's story carries a far deeper message, one that resonates well beyond headlines and viral clips. The real impact lies in the countless individuals touched by abuse, betrayal, and silence, whose voices have been ignored for too long. Letters poured into her office reveal lives irrevocably changed. Mothers and survivors who see in Crockett's courage a beacon of hope and validation. Her journey underscores a crucial lesson: being underestimated is often the weapon of those who wish to keep power unchecked. Crockett's quiet determination, meticulous preparation, and refusal to be sidelined demonstrate why having advocates who know your work intimately matters. When someone is willing to step forward with unassailable evidence, the ripple effect can't be contended, shakes institutions, boldens whistleblowers, and challenges the culture of silence. This moment is not just a viral event, it reflects a timeless truth about integrity and perseverance. It reminds us that real change happens when dedication meets opportunity, and when voices of truth refuse to be silenced. Jasmine's stand proves that the fight for accountability is both personal and collective, and it inspires everyone to hold power to account, even when no one is watching. If you believe truth still matters in a world designed to bury it, now is the time to stand up, just like Jasmine Crockett did. Don't wait for permission or for someone else to take the lead. Ask questions, support those who expose injustice, and demand transparency from those in power. The ripple effects of courage and preparation can shake entire systems. If this story inspired you, subscribe for more honest accounts where bravery meets truth. Remember, change begins with voices that refuse to be silenced even when no one's watching. Join us, because the fight for accountability is everyone's fight.